Hi, everybody. Lee Marshall, thanks very much for joining us on Worldwide, and everybody in the tri-state area. We're going to find out if you really can go home again. You're going to meet one of your own in just a couple of seconds. But let me tell you about Tuesday, December 29th at 7:30, Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale. WCW returns. Fans, please don't wait any longer. Get your tickets now at the Nassau Coliseum box office or any of the tri-state Ticketmaster outlets. Let me spotlight just a couple of the matches you're going to see, beginning with Goldberg defending the WCW Heavyweight Championship of the World against Bam Bam Bigelow. Big sexy Kevin Nash is there to meet the Giant, and what is going to be one of the most brutal rematches that I can think about, the Hitman Bret Hart to take on the young man from the Jersey Shore, your own Diamond Dallas Page is coming back home.
What a joke this shirt is. Bret Hart, one-time major hero up there in New York, that whole area. Now I get the American flag, tried to come in here kissing everybody's butt, how he's changed again. The first mistake he made was getting in Ric Flair's face. And not just to get in his face, I don't care about that, but to tell Ric Flair, who in WCW is the man for years on end, and he's the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. I don't think so. Hart, right now, me and you are going back and forth with this strap. No one knows who's going to have it when me or you get in the ring. Bottom line is, you may be one of the best there ever was. You aren't the best. You may be one of the best. And you are also getting in the ring, coming into Nassau Coliseum with one of the other best. And you, Jacko, you're getting bang!
Well, like I said, if you can go home again, it's going to be this man, Diamond Dallas Page, the homeboy, returning to Uniondale, Nassau Coliseum, Tuesday, December 29th. Hi, everybody, it's Lee Marshall here, and I cannot think of a better way to end the year for wrestling fans than to get over to the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale on Tuesday, the 29th of December at 7:30. Fans, you are going to see one of the greatest collection of professional wrestlers under one roof of all time. Please, get to the Coliseum box office or a Ticketmaster outlet anywhere in the tri-state. Challenging for the heavyweight championship of the world is Bam Bam Bigelow. He faces Goldberg. Diamond Dallas Page in a rematch with the Hitman Bret Hart. Kevin Nash is going to fight the Giant. Fans, you're going to see people like Scott Hall and Rick Steiner, Kurt Hennig, Booker T, the total package, Lex Luger, and I must tell you, Eric Bischoff, like it or not, the Nature Boy Ric Flair will be in Uniondale. Not only will Nature Boy be there, but a couple of other men that I think you would like to lock out of New York. I'm talking about Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko. Gentlemen, you already signed the agreement. You will face Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho.
Lee Marshall, you can never take away one man's ability. And no matter what you say about Chris Jericho or Eddie Guerrero, you can never take away their ability in the ring and what they mean to this sport. These are two gentlemen that definitely no strangers to myself and the Crippler. On several occasions we've been in the ring with either one of these gentlemen. And all I have to say is one thing: in Nassau Coliseum, may the best team win.
Well, Crippler, not only do you have to fight Guerrero and Jericho, but it seems you're always having to fight Bischoff.
Bischoff, we'll put that aside for the time being. Guerrero and Jericho, not only has your ability blossomed, but your egos have also blossomed. You're going to be stepping into the ring with two of the four greatest athletes in wrestling today.
Fans, do yourself a favor. Bring the year to an end by being part of this spectacular event in Nassau.
We're back, getting ready to go to the ring now with Lee Marshall and Mike Tenay in our double main event. When I think about Starrcade, I think about all the years of this granddaddy of all wrestling events. I think that tradition always seems to come out ahead at the end of the year. And you represented that last year, as we talked about, when you defeated Eric Bischoff. And why not? Why not have Goldberg put the world title on the line? He is the man, and if Goldberg wins, once again, tradition comes out ahead.
Well, it's interesting, Tony, but if you look through history, there have always been men trying to run the world, from the Caesars to the Pharaohs to the idiot Adolf himself, but they all had the same problem. They ran into a brick wall called tradition, because no matter how we want it to be, it only works the way it is, and we can't change it.
It's main event time. Standing by, Lee Marshall and Mike Tenay with the call.
It is is another action-packed weekend, and we've got WCW action. Tony, Larry, thank you very much. A veteran making his way into the ring, Kendall Windham, himself a second-generation wrestler of the pride of Sweetwater, Texas. And he's going to be in there against a young man really making a mark or attempting to do so, Iron Mike. Mr. Manny Fernandez is his opponent today on Worldwide.
Well, Lee, a real contrast here in terms of experience. You mentioned a second-generation competitor. Kendall Windham on his way to the ring. You notice, I'm sure his father would be proud because he is sporting the big black glove. It was so reminiscent through the years of his father's in-ring attire. We speak of none other than Big Black Jack Mulligan.
Yep.
Kendall Windham to face Manny Fernandez, and Manny Fernandez has been around our sport for a couple of years, but in terms of his in-ring experience, it just pales in comparison to the veteran Kendall Windham.
Kendall Windham has not only readapted his style, but I think he has gone well out of his way to get into the gym, work very, very hard, and almost recreate himself physically. If you remember when Kendall Windham first came out into the sport, although he looked good, he looked more like a gymnast or a swimmer. You know, had that lean,
very
lanky
sleek
body. Yeah, very sleek. But he bulked up, put on some weight, hit the iron real, real hard. And he's a new Kendall Windham with a whole new attitude as well.
Well, I think Kendall Windham realizes that if he's going to compete in 1998 with the big boys of professional wrestling, then he had to turn it up a notch, especially in that physical department. And just taking one look at Kendall Windham, it looks to me like over the course of the past year or so, he has probably put on in the neighborhood of about 50 or 60 pounds.
You know, I noticed the bigger men in our sport today, and I draw an analogy to the bigger men in football, like the linemen, for example. You think of the old linemen, they were just these big lumbering dinosaur guys. Same with a lot of the old wrestlers, but now you look at the linemen in the NFL and some of the big men in WCW. These are very fast men. A Kendall Windham, or let's just go to the top of the heap, a Goldberg, as big as he is, man, he is fast. When he hits you with that spear, you know you've been stuck, pal.
Let's take it one notch further, just really to accentuate your point. Let's look at a wrestler like the Giant.
Oh, yeah.
The largest athlete in pro sports. The guy is 7'4". He's over 550 pounds, and he's doing drop kicks off the top rope.
Yep.
If that doesn't really just exemplify how much the heavyweights and the super heavyweights have had to change their game plan just to really exist and to have success at this point in professional wrestling, I don't think that anything does.
It certainly speaks to the athleticism of where the big boys play and the big boys play in WCW. And let's not discount the New World Order, certainly, and you know the Four Horsemen. They're back indeed, and they've got a big man, Mr. Steve Mongo McMichael. Man, can he come off that defensive line?
You're talking about groups and factions in professional wrestling. Don't forget the newest. Speaking of the LWO, the Latino World Order, headed up by Eddie Guerrero. They are certainly making their impact felt as well.
Well, that's just speed exemplified right there. You hook up a group of the luchadors, especially the premier luchadors like Eddie Guerrero has managed to recruit. Man, they are strong, they are fast, and like you said, their voice is being heard loud and clear throughout WCW, and I wonder if it's being heard equally loud in the executive offices of one Mr. Eric Bischoff.
Well, that was really the main purpose behind the formation of the LWO originally. If you remember back, it was Eddie Guerrero's problems that he had with Eric Bischoff, that the Latin wrestlers, that the luchadors weren't getting their proper due, weren't getting the breaks that other wrestlers from WCW and the NWO were, and Manny Fernandez springs off the ropes, forearm smash to the neck, scoop and a slam.
We talk about power and speed. Manny Fernandez coming out of a couple of atomic drops issued by Kendall Windham, and Fernandez all over Windham now.
Field him out of the corner. The size and weight of Kendall Windham makes it difficult for Manny Fernandez to get up and a move like a suplex. Blocked the second time.
Man, that was a great plan B. You could just see the wheels turning in Kendall Windham's head. All right, I got 2 blocks now. Where do I go?
Able to adapt on the fly. Cover on the clothesline.
I'll tell you what, not only did Kendall Windham out-muscle Manny Fernandez, but I think this is a real good example, Mike, of how Kendall Windham really just outsmarted and outthought Manny Fernandez in this match.
Able to change it in mid-move. The attempt at the suplex by Manny Fernandez was reversed into that beautiful swinging neckbreaker. As we take another look, there you see the backdrop suplex delivered by Kendall Windham. The running lariat, left arm extended, took him off of his feet, and the easy cover in the 3 count.
Man, this is a great WCW Worldwide. This is almost too much show. Don't go away. We got more action coming up on Worldwide. Oh, you're going to see some high-flying action on this next match, singles competition. And one of the premier athletes to come out of Mexico City, none other than Silver King. And I must tell you, Mike, I'm a little surprised that Eddie Guerrero has not recruited this superb veteran as part of the LWO.
Well, I'm sure it's just a question of time, because in Silver King, we are talking about one of the most accomplished, well-established luchadors. He's really made a name for himself south of the border. He's trying now to take that success in Mexico City and really throughout the country of Mexico and parlay it into a career here in World Championship Wrestling.
Now he's facing quite a challenge today on Worldwide. Todd Griffin, albeit not as experienced as Silver King, but you look at this young man as they say, this is what somebody looks like when they're cut out of a piece of granite.
And there's an old expression about not judging the book by its cover.
Yes.
And I think when you look at these two competitors, especially when you look at the physique of Silver King, you would think as he looks very stocky, really has that wrestler's type physique. But don't be fooled, because he's not just going to rely on a ground game, even though, as you can see here in the early going with the front face lock, he's very adept at that, but he can also fly like a cruiserweight.
Yeah, he can. You'll find that was from the great philosopher Bo Diddley, by the way.
And that was Bo said.
That was, you can't tell a daughter by looking at her mother, and you can't tell a book by looking at the cover.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
To quote Bo Diddley, and by golly, who doesn't all the time. Man, Silver King not only launching a series of chops, but he can come at you with some kicks as well.
Whoa, Todd Griffin tried to fight off, shoot him off into the ropes. Silver King just leveled him.
Wow.
There's that quickness, there's that agility,
Man.
just like that move, the spin kick.
This guy is not only out-moving, but you can just see him out-thinking Todd Griffin virtually at every step of the way in this match, Mike. Great outing for Silver King.
Power bomb that time delivered by Silver King. And that one really surprised his opponent, hooks the leg. Todd Griffin able to kick out even before a 1 count from our official, Jimmy Jett.
All right, Silver King apparently wants to take some of the action outside the ring and away from the watchful eyes of Jimmy Jett. Seems they're going to inflict a little punishment, but outside of the ring apparently is the place where Todd Griffin would like to put some damage and some hurting on Silver King.
Well, we're not so sure that was a smart move by Silver King to take it out to the floor, as you mentioned.
Oh.
Todd Griffin momentarily turns it around, but then Silver King answers with an exclamation point of his own, that scoop and slam on the arena floor.
Well, gives you a little Sammy Sosa salute and a little tribute to Gene Simmons. Silver King shows you a little bit of everything, apparently.
Touching all bases
Yes,
this week
indeed.
on Worldwide.
Touch them all, Silver King. Wow.
Now there you see the experience also there as Griffin slowly makes his way back into the ring. He just exposed the leg as he came over that middle rope, and Silver King follows up, immediately goes to the attack.
Silver King with quite a repertoire, and young Mr. Todd Griffin, he's seeing a great deal of it today. Nice recovery by Silver King, but Griffin able to get in a move of his own, a couple of stiff-arm clotheslines. Let's see if we can capitalize here with the 1, the 2, and almost a 3 count on the veteran Silver King.
Well, went down for the cover, got just the 2 count. You saw that in mid-move he tried to hook the leg. Be better for Mr. Griffin to hook that leg first, get that proper weight distribution.
Right.
Tried to hook the leg again of Silver King, but Silver King fights him off, but Griffin just out-muscles him into a slam.
Kick out again by Silver King. I think this really exemplifies the difference between a veteran and a rookie. A rookie, he will commit himself, go for the move, even though it may turn out to be the wrong move, whereas a veteran, he'll go for it if it doesn't work. They usually have a plan B. Kick out by Silver King.
Power slam that time by Griffin enables him to gain a 2 count. Again goes back, first with the boot to the midsection.
Oh.
Scoop and a slam. Griffin going to try high risk off the top. Is that a moonsault?
Well, not a very good one.
Came up well short that time.
Wow, if you're going to try a move like that, especially with somebody with like Silver King, you better come up like Greg Louganis, pal.
Going to take him up into the air. Almost powerbomb style.
Yep.
Sets him up on his shoulders. Going to whirly bird him.
Silver King making him pay now for a mistake like that. Yep, there's that somersault slam by Silver King. This could be it, Mike. Yeah. You try to embarrass a veteran like Silver King by basically taking a lucha libre move and then not doing it that well. Silver King's going to take it, roll it up real tight, and pound it right down your throat.
All about payback, isn't it?
Yep.
Todd Griffin went to the top rope to attempt that moonsault. Poorly executed, and Silver King made him pay.
Well, I'd like to take one more look at it on a replay here, Mike. Big win today for Silver King on WCW Worldwide.
And we see him take him up and powerbomb Todd Griffin with authority and with impact. There you see the whirly bird tossing Griffin away, and it led to the somersault into the leg drop and the cover.
You know, this replay brought to you by Glover Game for Nintendo 64 and PC and CD-ROM. You got to love the glove, man. Back to Tony and Larry.
All right, we're back at the studio. Thanks a lot, guys, for the call of our double main event. So, big sexy Kevin Nash. He's got his shot. And I tell you, this is a match, Kevin Nash against Goldberg, that I've always wanted to see. It's now going to be the main event. Kevin Nash wins World War III, the main event for coming up at Starrcade.
You know, and it was against the odds, too, outnumbered by Team Hollywood, by the Black and the White New World Order. A member of the Wolfpack survived, and now Nash has a chance at Goldberg.
And we now know the Wolfpack stronger than ever. Can Kevin Nash bring the gold to the red and the black of the NWO? We are going to find out on December 27th at Starrcade. Well, for the one and only living legend, Larry Zbyszko, I'm Tony Schiavone. More information about Starrcade, more matches to be announced next week, and we'll see you at that time right here on WCW Worldwide Wrestling.
Well, hi, everybody. Lee Marshall, thank you very kindly for watching WCW Worldwide. Let me tell you about the way to bring down the curtain on 1998, December 29th, Tuesday at the Nassau Coliseum. WCW returning to Uniondale, and fans, you've got to get out there and get those tickets now. Get over to the Coliseum box office or any of the Ticketmaster outlets throughout the tri-state area. Let me tell you about some of the superstars you're going to see in action, beginning with the main event, the Beast from the East. It's Bam Bam Bigelow. Heads up, meeting Goldberg. Also the native son, Diamond Dallas Page from Jersey. He'll be there to take on the Hitman Bret Hart. Giant meets Big Sexy Kevin Nash. You're also going to see Lex Luger, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Stevie Ray is going to be there. Conan, Saturn, Fit Finlay. And I guarantee this could well be the show stealer. It's a tag team match. The Four Horsemen combination of Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko to take on you, Chris Jericho, and your partner, the leader of the LWO, Eddie Guerrero. I know you're smiling now, but when you get into New York, you better be all business, my friend.
First of all, Lee Marshall, I just want to point out one thing. You forgot to announce that Vincent is going to be in Giant's corner for that great match. Okay? And just let me say this. Vincent actually goes on after myself and my partner, Ralph.
You're skirting the issue, aren't you?
Malenko.
You don't want to talk about having to face the Horsemen.
No, me and Ralphus will have no problem facing the Horsemen.
You're not fighting with Ralphus. You're fighting with Eddie Guerrero. Eddie's your partner.
Okay, well, that's the second greatest partner I could ever have in Eddie Guerrero. And I feel really, really bad for Dean Malenko and for Chris Benoit, because after myself and Eddie get through with them, there'll be nothing left of them. I also feel bad for all the people that have to go on after this match, because it's the greatest technical match that you will ever see in your lifetime. And what a great Christmas present to come on down to the matches on December 29th and come see me, the role model to millions across the globe,
millions.
Thousands in the Uniondale area, my birthplace.
It is so very good to be with you today on WCW Worldwide. Hi, everybody. Lee Marshall here. In just a couple of seconds, you are going to meet El Patron, the leader of the Latino World Order. But first, throughout the tri-state area, I know fans are clamoring to get tickets for Nassau Coliseum and the big event, December 29th. Fans, if you don't have your tickets for this one, please don't wait any longer. Get to the Coliseum box office right now or any of the Ticketmaster outlets throughout the tri-state area. The main event truly speaks for itself. Goldberg against the Beast from the East, Bam Bam Bigelow. You've also got Diamond Dallas Page taking on the Hitman Bret Hart. Giant with Vincent in his corner to meet Big Sexy Kevin Nash. It's really a roll call of superstars coming in. Ric Flair, Scott Hall, Scott Steiner, Lex Luger, Booker T, Brian Adams coming in. The Four Horsemen tag team of Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit to take on Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho. And I'm a little bit interested right out of the gate, Eddie, why you would pick Chris Jericho and not one of your luchadors in this all-important tag team match?
Well, 4 horsemen, right?
Yes.
Symbol of excellence.
So they say, yes.
So they say. Well, Jericho, Guerrero, we challenge that. See, Chris and Dean, you go around walking and talking and walking the aisle like you say, right? Well, me and Jericho don't agree with that. See, we don't like people that boast. You never see me boast.
Oh, not
or
once.
Jericho.
No, never one, not even a little.
That's right. We like to humble people. And that's exactly what we're going to do to you, is humble you, because you guys are going around saying that you're the symbol of excellence. Well, to me, that means that you're saying that you're the best. Well, my friend, I have a challenge for you. Me and Jericho know that we're the best, and in Nassau Coliseum, we're going to show it to you.
This one, folks, quite honestly, could be the one that steals the whole event.
All right, fans, we welcome you back. Getting ready to go to the arena for our double main event this week on Worldwide Wrestling. But before we go, Diamond Dallas Page and the Giant now added to the Starrcade card for Sunday, December 27th. If you'll recall back recently on WCW Monday Nitro, it was Bret Hart and DDP for the U.S. title. No disqualification match. Here comes the Giant down, and blatantly, no disqualification, takes DDP up not once, but twice. The last time off of the top turnbuckle with the Giant chokeslam, enabling Bret Hart to easily cruise to the U.S. title. So now DDP, living legend, goes in against the Giant at Starrcade. Little payback match for one Diamond Dallas Page.
We'll take a lot more incentive to get the adrenaline going on the side of Diamond Dallas Page, a man who could have a very Merry Christmas after this one. You know, Giant may be a much bigger man in physical stature, but no one's got a heart the size of Diamond Dallas Page.
Time now for our double main event. Standing by, Scott Hudson and Mike Tenay with the call, guys.
Welcome to the Worldwide Arena. Scott Hudson and I, Mike Tenay, with you. A couple of Alexes gonna tie it up. Professor as Alex Porto makes his way to the ring.
And Alex Porto, very experienced on the independent scene around the United States, trying to take a step up to the big boys of World Championship Wrestling, is set to square off with the Dancing Alex, formerly known as the Wonder Kid, Das Wunderkind from Germany. Alex Wright here on Worldwide.
He will dance his way here into the Worldwide Arena to take on a veteran of the ring wars in Alex Porto. This is Alex Wright. Not a lot of dancing from Alex. Little sullen look. Now what? Oh, there we go.
There you go. You knew he'd break into it sooner or later.
Kicking it in gear here on Worldwide. Mike just a couple of weeks away from the granddaddy of them all, Starrcade 98, the MCI Center in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Nash and Goldberg for the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm so pumped.
Well, this is a matchup that Kevin Nash earned at World War III when he just dominated, outlasting 59 other competitors to win the three-ring 60-man Battle Royal. He finally gets the title shot at Goldberg, upcoming at Starrcade. A couple of interesting stipulations here. I think the most interesting of which is that Goldberg, in the interim time period, in the next 2 weeks, is not going to be allowed to defend the World Heavyweight title, so that we're guaranteed that when Goldberg and Nash square off at Starrcade, that World Heavyweight title will be at stake. And how about the presence of Bam Bam Bigelow?
You never know what's going to happen with Bam Bam Bigelow, as we've seen on Nitro of late. Loves to interject himself into the action, whether or not he is, well, he's never invited, I guess, whether or not he has a ticket to the building or not. We even saw Goldberg and Bigelow tie it up outside the UTC Arena in Chattanooga, Tennessee on Nitro just a couple of weeks ago. Unbelievable heat between Bigelow and Goldberg.
Well, one of the keys to Goldberg's success has been his incredible focus. The man has an incredible concentration level, and one has to question as we head into Starrcade with the presence of Bam Bam Bigelow, whether Goldberg is going to be able to maintain that focus and concentrate on Kevin Nash, or will he be distracted by these repeated interferences by Bam Bam Bigelow?
We'll find out December 27th at Starrcade 98 on pay-per-view, but right now, Alex Wright. Wristlock armbar on Alex Porto. Now into a top wristlock. Drop toe hold by Porto. Float over into a front face. Nice escape into a hammerlock by Alex Wright.
Well, pretty much what we expected. Two very technically sound competitors And it's a feeling out process here in the early going with the exchange of holds.
Hip up escape by Alex Wright. Somersault back into the armbar. Reversal by Porto. Turned him for a loop in the center of the ring.
Just snaps it off and goes right back to the arm. The drop toe hold. And Alex Wright quickly goes for the top rope.
That's the maturing signs of Alex Wright. He's been around this great sport now for a few years. No longer the 18-year-old rookie phenom from a few years ago. That's a veteran maneuver, hanging on to the rope to escape the drop toe hold.
Of course, he had that built-in experience factor, being a second-generation wrestler. His father, Steve Wright, was one of the top competitors to come out of Europe, wrestled extensively throughout the United States back in the 1970s.
Side headlock, Porto shoots Alex Wright across. Step over by Alex Wright into the ropes. Leapfrog by Porto. Alex, the shoulder in the gut. European uppercut. Drives Porto back into the ropes. Now the right hand raining in on Alex Porto.
Well, he has Porto rocking as he shoots him off. Belly to belly, plants him in the middle of the ring.
Nicely executed. Vertical press only got the 1 count on Porto. Knife edge chop from Alex Wright. Drives him in. Gonna shoot him across. Reversal by Porto. Alex charges out. Ducks the clothesline. Spin kick. Caught him right in the face.
Almost a variation of a leg lariat that time as Alex Wright spun around, nailed Porto, took him off of his feet, and Porto gets right back up and snapmares Alex over.
Maintains the wrist lock on Alex Wright into the armbar. Porto. Roll. Reversal by Alex. Go behind. Waist lock. Standing switch by Porto. Full Nelson. On right, nice escape into the hammerlock again. There we go.
Hangman style neck breaker. Hits the cover.
That may do it. Hooks the leg, and the 3 count from referee Rocky King. And Alex Wright, the dancing fool himself, scores the victory over Alex Porto.
I think you made a great point, Scott. Maturity played quite a role in this matchup. Alex Wright able to turn things around, connect with that neck breaker. The quick follow, the ensuing 3 count, and the win.
Don't go anywhere. We've got more action still to come right here on WCW Worldwide. Back in the Worldwide Arena, Scott Hudson, Mike Sine, as we watch the arrival of Johnny Swinger. He just told us his name, I guess.
That's big for Johnny Swinger. Getting airtime like that.
Big for anybody. They never put our name up like that. Then again, where goes Johnny Swinger? Johnny's gonna swing it with the other half of the Dancing Fools, the Disco Inferno. We saw his, former tag team partner, Alex Wright, earlier on this broadcast. Disco Inferno will shimmy and shake his way into the ring.
Now, have they officially dissolved their tag team? I hadn't heard that.
Well, you never see them tagging up anymore.
Not the past couple of weeks, I guess, but just remember in the Disco Inferno, we are talking about a young man who was a former 2-time WCW World Television Champion. And I think as many announcers, you and I included, have mentioned over the course of Disco's career here in WCW, when he is able to maintain that focus. He's one of the top competitors in the world today, but it just seems that there are certain points in his matches where he will lose that concentration.
No question about it. He'll worry about his hair. He'll worry about his hip movement or whatnot. But the Disco Inferno, make no mistake about it, is a talented wrestler inside that squared circle.
Maybe it's just a situation where he's looking to go into singles competition. I know that he's been talking about looking to regain the WCW World's TV title, and you know that he always has his mind on the WCW Cruiserweight belt as well.
He's got his mind on his weight, no question about it. So there's the Disco Inferno set to take on Johnny Swinger here on Worldwide. You ask certain people, Johnny Swinger is the hottest young commodity in wrestling, although that certain people is a certain person, and it's him.
Yeah, that's a group of one.
Hip toss from Johnny Swinger on Disco Inferno, and Swinger making the cardinal mistake of being the world's biggest mark for himself.
Well, maybe this is going to be a case where Disco Inferno looks across the ring and sees his opponent actually losing his focus and concentration more than Disco does. So Disco's going to be able to concentrate on Johnny Swinger. Let's see how this works out.
Shoulder block from Johnny Swinger. Step over. Disco. Caught him. with the clothesline with authority. Quick cover, lateral press, 2 count for the Disco Inferno.
You know, I've gone on record as saying that Disco Inferno was the most fortunate World's Television Champion ever. But you have to give the man his due. He won it on 2 occasions, and in that time period, and I think it was probably a grand total of about 6 weeks for his 2 title reigns, he had his focus, he had his act together. And I think if Disco Inferno is ever able to revert back to that status, we're looking at a young man here who could be a top contender for several championship belts. Nice scoop in a mid-ring slam.
And the Disco Inferno sets himself up, will drop the clenched fist right across the forehead of Johnny Swinger. Lateral press, cover for Disco, and again the 2 count. Disco needs to really maintain his focus here, Mike, and I'll tell you why. Wrestling Johnny Swinger, the way Johnny Swinger's attitude is in there right now, is like Disco wrestling himself 2 years ago.
Well, explain yourself.
Johnny Swinger forever working on the dance moves, worried about his hair, swinging around the ring, as it were. Disco Inferno can watch Johnny Swinger and see someone not focused.
Almost a mirror image is what you're saying of the previous Disco Inferno.
Exactly. The Disco Inferno now on the wrong end, on the business end of a boot from Johnny Swinger. Swinger rolls him over. Oh, just throttles him. Doesn't even try the pinfall attempt. Referee Rocky King stepping in and breaking up that nonsense.
Absolutely a blatant chokehold by Johnny Swinger. And, you know, it's good to see that WCW is employing officials like Rocky King, like Brady Boone. Talking about former wrestlers. Sunset Flip, barely a 1 count that time for the Disco Inferno. Whoa! Because so many of our officials have been intimidated as of late, and I certainly can't blame them as we see Swinger nonchalant cover, and again, barely a 2 count there. This dangerous working conditions involving matches with Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner.
Oh, please.
And we've seen that the NWO Black and White now has their own official. I think it's great that WCW has gone out, and we are employing former wrestlers like a Rocky King, and as I mentioned, like a Brady Boone, to maintain law and order.
Well, Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner, the new leader of the NWO Black and White, has made it almost impossible to referee a contest in World Championship Wrestling. But now, Johnny Swinger, slingshot with the leg drop, missed as Disco rolled out of the way. Disco moves in, boot into the midsection, into the rope. Disco, the neck breaker. Did he nail it? Hooks the leg, lateral press, 2 count on Johnny.
I thought he had him there off the swinging, spinning neck breaker. Again, another near fall, the 2 count for Disco.
Swinger into the rope, inverted atomic drop from the Disco Inferno, lateral press, cover, 2 count, again for Disco.
Well, still fight left in Johnny Swinger, but Disco now mounts the middle rope.
Oh, misses the fist from the middle. Johnny, a little life left in the swing man yet. Sets Disco up, shoots him across. Johnny waits on him. Oh no, here we go. The pile driver. Oh, did he spike it? Nailed it right in the center.
He's got him now.
Disco, lateral press, deep hook, and he got the 3 count.
Well, that was definitely a situation where persistence pays off for the Disco Inferno. He tried the spinning neck breaker. He tried the inverted atomic drop. He went up to the middle rope. All 2 counts. But it was that pile driver that finally did Johnny Swinger in.
Disco Inferno has won numerous contests with that pile driver. Add 1 more to that list. Right here on Worldwide, he gets the Duke over a game competitor in Johnny Swinger. Mike, this was worth another look in our Snickers replay of the week. Not going anywhere for a while. Grab a Snickers. Hungry? Why wait? Take us back.
As we take a replay look, Disco Inferno catches him with that high flying forearm smash on his way to the victory over Johnny Swinger. Remember, he's a 2-time former WCW World TV Champion. Who knows? Is there going to be another title belt in the future for Disco Inferno?
Disco Inferno rocketing back up the charts with the win on Worldwide. For Mike today, I'm Scott Hudson. Let's send it back to Tony and Larry in the studio.
Our thanks to Mike Tenay and Scott Hudson for the call of our double main event this week on Worldwide Wrestling. Well, fans, the holiday season is upon us. As you know, 2 days removed from Christmas will be Starrcade, the one event all wrestlers look forward to as the premier event of the year. You know about Goldberg and Nash, and now you know it's going to be Ric Flair against Eric Bischoff one-on-one. Now, last year at Starrcade, Living Legend, you got Eric Bischoff in the ring and would not turn the man loose. Flair, as we heard earlier, is ready to go. He's ready to get back in the ring and compete, this time against Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, well, Flair's, always been ready. The man's a seasoned pro. Last year it was my pleasure and privilege to rub Bischoff's face in the mat. It felt great. And I can't wait to watch Ric Flair put him in that figure 4 and break his skinny little leg.
Next week on this program, fans, more matches to be added to the sensational card for Sunday, December 27th, Starrcade 98. For the one, the only, Living Legend, Larry Zbyszko, I'm Tony Schiavone. See you in 1 week time on behalf of World Championship Wrestling and the NWO. See you, fans.
Hi, everybody. Lee Marshall with a thank you for watching us today on WCW Worldwide, and a reminder about next Tuesday. That's the day WCW heads for Nassau Coliseum. We're going to start things off at 7:30, and please get your tickets now at the Nassau Coliseum box office or any of the Ticketmaster outlets. In just a second, I'm going to introduce you to a man, a very tough individual indeed, who just came off a most successful tour of Japan. But first, let's talk about what you're going to see in New York. Bam Bam Bigelow to take on Goldberg. Barry Windham's going to be there with the Hitman Bret Hart at his side to take on Diamond Dallas Page, while Kevin Nash meets the Giant Scott Hall to fight the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Scott Steiner meets Lex Luger with Booker T to take on Bryan Adams. The Four Horsemen duo of Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko takes on Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho. Conan's there meeting Stevie Ray, and this one, I'm telling you, fans, not so much a match as it is an out-and-out fight, as Saturn will meet the man just newly returned from Japan, Fit Finlay. First of all, congratulations on the success in Japan, but it doesn't get any easier coming stateside.
Listen to me. Saturn, I hope you didn't eat too much over Christmas. Let me tell you something. We're going to take it up a notch. We have fought before, as you know. You sat there watching it. But let me tell you, we're going to take it up a little notch. I'm going to push you a little further. Saturn is one of the most toughest guys I've ever been in the ring with. One of them. Well, let me tell you something. He wrestles great. But I am a great wrestler. That is the difference.
It's frightening when you say you're going to turn it up a notch, because you're right. I have seen you with Saturn fight, and it's brutal. It's just out-and-out brutality, the two of you.
It's time to change gear. It's going to go back into top gear, and it's going to go straight at him. I'm going to run him over, and I'm going to pick him. I'm just going to do whatever comes natural. And that is, to me, what I'm all about. Just natural. This is a gift.
Fans, we're going to see you in New York. Get your tickets now. Hi, everybody. Lee Marshall here, and I want to thank you very kindly for joining us today on WCW Worldwide. The other thing I want to do is put a cherry on top of the Sunday that is 1998. Let's bring this year down with a bang. Let's meet next Tuesday at the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale. Fans, we've been talking about this event for quite some time. If you don't have a ticket now, I encourage you, don't waste any more time. Get over to the Nassau Coliseum box office or a Ticketmaster outlet anywhere in the tri-state area. Fans, let me tell you about some of the superstars you're going to be seeing in action in New York. Barry Windham is coming back to New York. At his side, the Hitman Bret Hart. Across the ring, Diamond Dallas Page. Big, sexy Kevin Nash is going to be there to take on the Giant. Scott Hall meets the Nature Boy Ric Flair, while Lex Luger hooks it up with Scott Steiner. Booker T will be in New York to meet Bryan Adams. We've got tag team competition. Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho meet the Horseman combination of Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit. Conan, he's there. Stevie Ray, Fit Finlay, Saturn, he's going to be there. And fans, we've been talking about it for quite some time. Bam Bam Bigelow, your homeboy, the Beast from the East, to take on the heavyweight champion of the world, Goldberg. It goes down in New York, Bill.
This may be your turf, Bigelow, and you may be the Beast from the East. But I'm the Beast of WCW. And when you come in here making demands about getting in the ring with me, you're going to get what's coming to you. And I can tell you one thing.
you ain't gonna like it.
There is that old adage of be wary of what you ask for, because you might just get it, Bigelow. You want Goldberg? Well, my friend, you're going to get him at the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale next Tuesday. The winner of this match, it's going to be the fans. Fans, please get your tickets now. Do not be left out of this one. Drop by the Nassau Coliseum box office or a Ticketmaster anywhere in the tri-state area.
Next Sunday, the 27th of December, get ready for Starrcade 1998. Call your local cable operator to inquire about pay-per-view availability. If you have DirecTV, you can get it on Direct Ticket. Also available on the Dish Network and satellite dish owners. Contact, Turner Premier. Another big match, as you know by now, the Giant one-on-one against former U.S. heavyweight champion Diamond Dallas Page next Sunday at Starrcade. So, Larry, what do you think about this one? DDP and the Giant, no title on the line. DDP has never been a man to back down from a challenge, but the Giant's a very angry man right now. Maybe a very dangerous situation for DDP to walk into.
Well, you get in the ring with the Giant, it's always a dangerous situation, but Diamond Dallas Page has been well motivated by Mr. Giant lately, who basically handed the U.S. title over to one very undeserving Bret Hart. DDP survived the choke slam, and the Diamond Cutter is one weapon he can use against the Giant.
We have a double main event. We also have two men standing by to give you the commentary. Mike Tenay and Lee Marshall.
Another great action-filled weekend here on Worldwide. Tony, Larry, we thank you very much. You know, Iron Mike, as we prepare for some singles competition here on Worldwide, like you, I can't wait for Starrcade, but I'm wondering if time is dragging just a little bit for the likes of Goldberg and Kevin Nash. They got to be chomping at the bit for this big event.
Well, Lee, I know that we've been marking the days off the calendar. We're now 1 week away from Starrcade 98, the granddaddy of them all, and you know it's shaping up to be maybe the biggest Starrcade ever, and I think the best pay-per-view of the year for World Championship Wrestling, all headlined by the world title shot, as Goldberg will put the gold on the line against the man who so rightfully deserves the shot after what he did last month at World War III, outlasting 59 other competitors on his way to a shot at the title. Big sexy Kevin Nash goes for the gold in our nation's capital next weekend.
We've all been talking about Kevin Nash and the opportunity that presents itself. Certainly an opportunity well earned by Big Sexy, the challenge for the heavyweight championship of the world. But the other thing I think is as important is the history, if you will, the asterisk that would go by Kevin Nash's name were he to become the first man to defeat Goldberg. That's, let's just say, the bonus plan that goes along should he be able to defeat the heavyweight champion of the world.
And I think that plays a very important part in the mindset of Kevin Nash. You know, we've seen this constant interference over the course of the past couple of weeks by that outsider, Bam Bam Bigelow, a man who had no connection to World Championship Wrestling or the NWO, nothing to do with this organization. And you'll notice that Kevin Nash made it very clear that he has been upset at Goldberg's demands for a match with Bam Bam Bigelow. I think you're right on the money, Lee. I think Nash wants to be the man that not only makes history winning the world title, but he wants to be the man that knocks off Goldberg. He wants to be the man that makes that first blemish on the unbeaten World Heavyweight Champion's one-loss mark.
Well, you know, there have been a lot of world champions going back to Lou Thesz before, but only one man is going to be able to say, I was the one that ended the Goldberg streak, and Kevin Nash wants to be that man. In the ring today on singles competition today on Worldwide, a product of the Power Plant. That's Mike Tolbert with an advantage over Doc Dean, a very accomplished wrestler from Great Britain. And it's always good to see the young men that aspire to do well and really achieve some sort of prominence and high visibility coming out of that Power Plant, Mike.
And I think this is a golden opportunity for young Mike Tolbert. You see in the purple trunks now on the receiving end of that short right hand from Doc Dean. This is really a great chance for Mike Tolbert. All of those hours, he's on the receiving end of 200-plus pounds crashing down on his back from Doc Dean, but all those hours spent at the WCW Power Plant have an opportunity to come to fruition right here on WCW Worldwide. This is a chance to make a name for yourself, and going against, as you mentioned, one of the most respected of the international cruiserweights, a young man from Great Britain, Doc Dean, who's recognized in all over the Orient, throughout Japan as one of the great cruiserweights. Holds that victory over Jushin Thunder Liger, probably the high water mark of his career. Of course, competes over in Europe on a regular basis and also with World Championship Wrestling.
Although Mike Colbert a bit compromised here, I want to point out the legs on this young man. Wrestling, like all other sports, you really look at the legs. Like in baseball, you look at not only the arm of the pitcher, but the legs of the pitcher. That's really where a lot of his power comes from. And Mike Colbert, he looks like a very successful bodybuilder from years ago named Tom Flax. Tom had those huge, monstrous legs. That was really his calling card. And Colbert has the same thing. That obviously is going to be the base of Mike Colbert's power, is those huge legs.
Well, that foundation is so important in every sport, but I think even in professional wrestling and even these days in pro wrestling, maybe more than ever because of the high-risk moves. The wrestlers using springboards off the ropes. That leg power is so important. The cross-body block by Mike Colbert, well, it took Doc Dean off of his feet, but Colbert clears the cobwebs and gets up and connects with a lariat.
You know, how often have we said in calling a match, well, you got to take this guy's legs out from under him. That's quite a chore when you look at Mike Colbert, who's having quite an advantage now over the veteran Doc Dean.
Not going to be easy to take Colbert off of his feet. First uses the boot. Oh, Doc Dean sends him to the ropes. Caught him in the midsection. That'll take the wind out of you.
You always go for plan B. Very nicely done by Mike Colbert. He doesn't look like a rookie here, Mike.
Got him.
Wow.
How about that? Unique move with the abdominal stretch, taking him to a variation of the pump handle, the slam, and the ensuing 3 count.
That, to me, was very impressive. He went for one move, it didn't work, and I think a lot of rookies at that point would have become exasperated, frustrated, and probably found themselves on the losing end of a fitting combination with Mike. And the replay, you can see Colbert's looking good.
Now Colbert connects with the clothesline. That was an important part of the matchup. There's the boot to the midsection. Took Doc Dean off of his game. Abdominal stretch, up to the slam, and the pinfall win.
Fans, don't you dare go away. We've got more action up coming on Worldwide. Welcome back to WCW Worldwide. Lee Marshall along with Mike Tenay. And, you know, Professor, there was an old song by the Tokens. I know you know what I'm talking about. That one line that was kind of, sounded like a week away, a week away, a week away, a week away.
And we are exactly a week away from Starrcade 98. I know that's where you're headed, Lee. The granddaddy of them all is 1 week away from happening. Seems like we've been waiting for months for this day.
Well, we have indeed. That's Mr. World Class, Chip Minton. That there, Dusty Wolf, the opposition for Mr. World Class today on Worldwide. And you talk about kind of a split personality. I've talked to this man a couple of times. A very nice, ingratiating, humble, modest athlete until you bring up the fact that he finished 4th in the Winter Olympics as part of a member of the 4-man U.S. bobsledding team. And he goes absolutely ballistic.
Almost Jekyll and Hyde in nature, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're talking about, well, maybe the most unique of all the two-sport athletes. And, Lee, I know you follow professional sports and amateur sports as much as anyone. When you think about two-sport stars, and they've certainly been the rage over the past decade or so, I think that this world-class athlete by the name of Chip Minton brings something that no one ever has. An Olympian as a bobsledder, and he's using that to catapult him into professional wrestling. But boy, did he go off during a recent interview that I saw you conduct with him. It was great on your part. You were bringing up his Olympic accomplishments, and you talked about the 4th place finish for the team.
For the cover, I was actually, taking an incredible liberty on behalf of the fans, and I think I was in right in doing so by saying, on behalf of sports fans all around America, we want to congratulate you for the stellar performance by the 4-man bobsledding team. I mean, come on, Mike, 4-man bobsledding, this country's never really distinguished itself in that sport. And we were really on the edge of our seats, we as sports fans, watching what Chip and his 3 teammates were doing. They came so close to a medal, but he says, do I look like a 4th place finisher? I mean, it was just, well, you saw it. It was an impossible interview. There was no way I was going to be able to make it right with him.
Yeah, but then to compound things, he started finger pointing, Lee.
Yeah, that's right.
Placing all the blame on his partners in the bobsled.
Yep. Yeah, he said the guy that was driving the sled couldn't, drive through the drive-in of the McDonald's. The other guys, they slipped, they fell, they were cowards, they lost their nerve. The driver was a big goofball. The only body that was really in the Olympics to win was him. So that's really the position that he's taken. Very unsportsmanlike indeed.
Oh, it sort of sours me on Chip Minton. The man's accomplishments, we talk about them. Lillehammer, Nagano, Japan, a two-time Olympian, and that he come out and just totally disrespect his fellow Olympians.
Nice move by Dusty Wolf, talking about disrespect. Dusty with no respect for the Olympian here for the cover. Kick out by Chip Minton. You know, I did ask him if he was considering training for the Winter Olympics in Salt Lake. He goes, oh yeah, I'd love to be back in the Olympics, but not with those, three losers that I had in Nagano.
Really? Still placing the blame on them.
Still putting the finger of blame on those guys.
Lee, we talk about that strong base for a wrestler. To be successful, you need that great leg power. Sure, it's part of that great bobsled team and the practice that goes for that. Look at the legs, the development on Chip Minton.
Well, in the bobsledding event, Chip Mitten's role was to give the driver the big start, the big push, literally, to send the team out of the gate with as much momentum as possible. And you point out the legs on him, world class indeed. But he says that once he gave the team the big push, the driver lost his nerve, went into the wall. The other two guys were nowhere to be found.
Well, the world-class athlete has had a difficult time getting untracked against the veteran Dusty Wolf. The back body. Oh! Wow, put the shoulder block into Dusty Wolf. Oh, there's that big splash. Great elevation.
1, 2, and he got him. Well, at least we won't have to hear about why he didn't win today on Worldwide. A very impressive win by world-class Chip Minton.
And he's starting to put together a string of victories in WCW. He's on a winning streak.
Well, I'd like to take another look at the work today on World-Class 5. Worldwide by one of the world-class Chip Minton. In fact, they cast the torture test for the new Iron Mike.
Well, there's the back body drop, one of the early offensive moves from Chip Minton. And then he put the shoulder to Dusty Wolf, and he was able to follow that up by going airborne, using that leg strength. Great elevation. There's the big splash in the wind.
Thanks a lot for the call of our double main event here this week. And, living legend now 1 week away from Starrcade. Kevin Nash and Goldberg for the world title. Ric Flair against Eric Bischoff. The Giant against Diamond Dallas Page. Shaping up to be a big one. And with all the animosity going on, it wouldn't surprise me if now Bigelow got involved some way in the match coming up on the 27th.
And apparently that's going to remain Kevin Nash's problem. Nash doesn't want anything to happen to Goldberg. He wants to be the one to take the belt and to take the reputation. This is going to be great.
We hope you have a great Christmas. Next weekend, our very special holiday program as we head towards Starrcade next Sunday. For the living legend Larry Zbyszko, I'm Tony Schiavone. See you next week right here on Worldwide Wrestling.
I want to talk specifically to you wrestling fans in the tri-state area about Tuesday. That's this Tuesday, the 29th, and what's going down to the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale. Fans, it's WCW, it's NWO, the Wolfpack, it's the Horsemen in the house. A few good seats remaining. Please don't wait. Get to the Nassau Coliseum box office or a Ticketmaster outlet anywhere in the tri-state area. Let me run down a little bit of this superstar card. You already know about the Beast from the East, Bam Bam Bigelow, taking on Goldberg, while Diamond Dallas Page meets Barry Windham with the Hitman Bret Hart there. The Giant and Kevin Nash, the Nature Boy Ric Flair back in action. He takes on Scott Hall, Lex Luger to meet Scott Steiner, while Brian Adams beats Booker T. We've got tag team competition. Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko beat Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho. Saturn's there, Fit Finley. And you know what? Big Papa Pump said he was going to campaign very hard on behalf of one of his men, and indeed he has. The TV championship goes on the line. Conan to defend against the man from the NWO, Horace Hogan. I got to tell you, Scott Steiner has done very well by you to get you a title shot in New York.
Yeah, well, he wins a bat for me, Lee, unlike a lot of morons in this company. Scotty Steiner wins a bat for me. I won't let him down. Also, Lee, I've been on your show about for the last month. You asked me that I need a title shot, so apparently those idiots back in the booking room are listening.
Well, I'm glad to know that because it's going to be a great match, you and Conan, but I want to talk a little bit about the NWO as well, Horace. Big Papa Pump has said that the NWO is going to take on his attitude, and I got to tell you, that's a pretty frightening thought.
All the arrogance and all the confidence that Big Papa Pump has is just going to filter right on down from the top to the bottom, and you can bet one thing for sure. In the future, the NWO Black and White is just going to keep steamrolling right over everybody.
Fans, we're going to see you this Tuesday in Uniondale. Get your tickets right now. You know, fans, I've looked this up. You'd have to look long and hard to find a lineup of superstars that would rival the event WCW's bringing into the Nassau Coliseum this Tuesday in Uniondale. Fans, get your tickets right now by going to the Uniondale Nassau Coliseum box office or just drop by a Ticketmaster outlet anywhere in the tri-state. Lee Marshall inviting you to be a part of this action with Goldberg taking on Bam Bam Bigelow. Barry Windham meets DDP with the Hitman Bret Hart there. The Giant taking on Kevin Nash. Nature Boy Ric Flair meets Scott Hall. Fans, I can go up and down this card. It just never ends with superstars. But you heard earlier from Horace Hogan from NWO Black and White talking about going after the strap, the World TV belt held by this man. He is the TV champion. He's Bowdy, he's Rowdy, and he's coming to New York. K-Dog, it's going to be you and Hogan.
Arriba la raza, you know, Horace Hogan's like the rest of the Black and White. They be talking about that for life, but Wolfpack somos unos vatos locos forever. So in Uniondale, I'm going to show him what time it is, what the TikTok is. It's going to be an easy night. That way I finish early. I can go with a couple of lovelies that are not going to come visit me. I'm representing on my raza, a todos los boricuas, a los cubanos. Quiero que vengan a representar, los dominicanos, todos los latinos. I want all my people to come out and show love in record numbers. And then after that, we're going to have a little after party in Long Island. If you come 3 hours before the match, as usual, I'm going to be in my 64 Impala with the trunk open. We're going to have some fish tacos. We're going to have some chicken wings.
Nothing like it.
Some chicharron.
The
We're going to
best.
be selling some tickets, half price.
No, I'm with you.
You don't have to
You
pay
know how much
taxes.
that you cannot
It
sell
doesn't matter.
tickets.
Look,
It matters,
you would look good in
K-Dog.
this shirt. I could give
You
you
think?
a box of these free. You can sell them because you live in L.A. You can
Yeah,
sell them over there. It's a big, it's a big item over there.
As much as fans, the best thing for you to do is just make your plans to join us this Tuesday. Nassau Coliseum, K-Dog defends against Horace Hogan. And if you get a chance, visit that 64 and pound of those fish tacos will knock you down.
Here is the information you need during this holiday season. Join us for Starrcade this Sunday. We often talk about making the appropriate telephone call, as Gene said earlier, and that's true. But thanks to technology, many of you right now can just push a button on your remote, and you can get Starrcade. You can order it right now. You can order right up to the event. It is this Sunday. It is on pay-per-view. It's on Direct Ticket with DirecTV, Satellite Dish owners, Turner Premiere, and available on the Dish Network. You cannot, if you are a wrestling fan, we know you are, or you wouldn't be watching this program, you cannot afford to miss Starrcade. Just about set to go for the double main event this week on WCW Worldwide Wrestling. But before we go there, Living Legend, we've not talked enough about Diamond Dallas Page and the Giant. On Monday, on WCW Monday Nitro recently, the Giant went ballistic and he almost took the career of DDP away. He went out, destroyed part of our set on Nitro, and then threw DDP all the way through the flooring on the opposite side.
You know, it's interesting when you see a man the size of the Giant stoop to the low he does, breaks up the set, throws Diamond Dallas through the floor, anything to get out of the match. If the Giant wasn't afraid of the Diamond Cutter, he would wait till Starrcade. He would get in the ring like a man and wrestle DDP. Obviously, Diamond Dallas Page already has the psychological advantage.
Let's go to the arena for the call of our double main event.
Larry, Tony, we thank you very much. And you know, Ironback, I find myself being a little bit like a little kid. I can't wait. I mean, here we are, Starrcade weekend, and I can't wait.
This is going to be our Christmas present, isn't it?
Yep.
It's going to be a couple of days late. Starrcade 98 is finally here. We have been counting down the days in anticipation of Starrcade 98, the granddaddy of them all. Kevin Nash to challenge Goldberg for the World Heavyweight title.
Yep.
But I know what you're waiting for. The Nature Boy Ric Flair against Eric Bischoff.
You know it. You know, I keep hearing about how Nature Boy, and I've heard Ric Flair say it, I'm going to kick him, I'm going to punch him, I'm going to chop him. Well, let me remind everybody that Eric Bischoff did not get his black belt the same way Elvis did. Eric earned his, pal. And I've seen Eric in action, and all I can say is it happens very, very, very fast. Eric can lay it in as well, so this is going to be one incredible matchup.
I think you make a great point. The Nature Boy, Ric Flair, needs to play to his strengths.
Yep.
The decades that he has of in-ring experience, the ring general needs to take control. And I know this is going to be very difficult because think of Ric Flair's mindset. I think he's almost of that mindset that he just can't wait, just like you and I can't, for him to get to the ring and then explode. But I think he has to be a little bit smarter than that, maybe a little cautious, a little tentative in the early going. Let Eric Bischoff play into the hands, play into the strengths of the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Look at this matchup, for example, Jim Powers and Hugh Morris, two huge, strong men. But you take away the fact that they're in the ring competing, they really have no beef against each other. Goldberg and Kevin Nash, really no beef against each other. Even when the bell rings, they're going to go for it. DDP and the Giant, still respect. But you take Flair and Bischoff, and quite honestly, you put two guys in the ring that absolutely hate each other's guts.
Yeah, the word respect has absolutely nothing to do with the Ric Flair-Eric Bischoff match. This is about Ric Flair deciding that enough is enough. The abuse of power, the dictatorship that Eric Bischoff has been behind has to come to an end, in the words of Ric Flair.
And also, in the words of Arn Anderson, the one phrase that keeps harkening back to me is, look at this, a near fall by Jim Powers over Hugh Morris. Arn Anderson keeps saying, we are taking back our company. And I think that is a direct statement to Eric Bischoff. Stiff arm lariat by Hugh Morris with a 2 count.
Well, I think Ric Flair and Arn Anderson, both very traditionalists when it comes to professional wrestling. And we've heard Ric Flair invoke the name of some great wrestlers of the past when he talks about Eric Bischoff. And as you see the names just roll off the lips of Ric Flair, you can see him getting built up and the emotions come out. This is a matchup that I think where Ric Flair is representing all the tradition of World Championship Wrestling. All those people that got this organization to the point where Eric Bischoff took over. And I think it's time, like Arn Anderson says, we take WCW back.
Reverse chin lock by Hugh Morris on Jim Powers. You can see the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, cheering on his charge, big Hugh Morris. You know, we talk about athletes, professional wrestlers. I think you get up for certain events. You know, every athlete looks forward to a certain event, be it the Indy 500, Kentucky Derby, World Series, NBA Finals, if there is such a thing. But I think Ric Flair, he gets his game face on for Starrcade. This is Ric Flair's home turf.
Just go back to the history of Starrcade, the important matchup, the headline bouts, the world's title matches that Ric Flair has been involved in at Starrcade. You're right, this is the equivalent to the Super Bowl. This is the equivalent to the World Series in our sport. It's the biggest pay-per-view event of the year. It's this weekend, and it's Starrcade 98.
That's right, the road map at Starrcade. You can see it etched on the face, in the scars, in the battle marks, all over the body of the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Nice drop kick by Jim Powers for the cover. 1, 2. Wow.
How about that? This strength versus strength, power versus power matchup. It's Jim Powers going with the drop kick from Jim Powers. I think that took Hugh Morris out of his game. See if he can keep up and follow this advantage.
And two superb, wrestlers as well. Off the cushion like a billiard shot into the Bulldog. And now Humorous going up top. He likes that no laughing matter move that comes off the top rope. Almost a Greg Louganis top gainer right across the knees of Powers. Oh, man.
Oh, how is he going to kick out after that? Keep in mind that Hugh Morris is bringing 350 pounds off the top rope with that no laughing matter moonsault. Jim Powers felt that right across the legs, unable to kick out at all.
We talked about the, what, Hugh? What? Well, Jimmy Hart and Humor is certainly laughing about what happened today on Worldwide Powers, but Mike, he literally got kneecapped.
Here we take a look at the replay. The Bulldog is the move that set it up. Hugh Morris taking Powers face first to the canvas. We take another look. The shoulder block took him off of his feet. But it was this one, the no laughing matter, that makes sure that Hugh Morris has the last laugh.
Well, this is the last laugh, but certainly not the last match. We got more great action up today on Worldwide, the Starcade Weekend.
Thanks a lot, guys, for the call of our double main event. Now, fans, before we leave you, here's the information you need to know. It's this Sunday. It's Starcade. It'll originate from the nation's capital, the MCI Center in Washington. You can order it on pay-per-view with cable TV, direct ticket with direct TV. Satellite dish owners, contact Turner Premier. Also, as always, available on the Dish Network. Call your satellite or cable provider and join us for Starcade this coming Sunday. Do you think Goldberg can hang on to the title? I mean, Kevin Nash is red hot right now.
Yeah, Kevin Nash is on a roll. He's a very, very confident man, like we talked about before. Kevin Nash has the ability, in my opinion, to beat Goldberg. But again, it is harder to take away the championship belt from the man holding it. Much easier to keep it. If Goldberg's smart, he can withstand the onslaught of the Wolfpack.
It's going to be a phenomenal world title match, and once again, Ric Flair is okay. He's 100%. He'll be wrestling in the ring against Eric Bischoff. There is no doubt. For Ric Flair personally, for his family, this is the most important match of his career. Now, next week on this program, we'll go back during the course of 1998 and show you some of the highlights, some of the great matches from 1998 and some of the great moments. For the one and only living legend, Larry Zbyszko, I'm Tony Schiavone. Have a great new year, and we'll see you in 1999 on Worldwide Wrestling.